Good afternoon. How are you? It's in the high 70s, low 80s, and there's a slight wind, which is pleasant, and the sky is partly cloudy, and that's my weather report for the afternoon. There are several stories that continue, but I suppose the hit parade has to include the shooting in upstate New York. And President Biden went there, and he spoke to the people and put flowers down, and but he also had a message, and he said that white supremacy is a poison. Now, he didn't call out Trump when he did that, and he did discourage those who speak about replacement theory, that is, the theory that if persons of color or immigrants come from other places, that they will replace the white people, and that's a terrible thing. I don't know what the proportion is now, but there's already a high proportion, and to think that there isn't going to continue to be a mix of people in America is naive. It's like that Australian story about how they hope to blend into insignificance the persons of color. But we're supposed to have been past that. And there's another error in Biden's message, which is that white supremacy is the order of the day in the Republican Party. I mean, Fox News heralds it. It was at the heart of this attack, and it will be at the heart of other attacks. So what are we to do? Condemning those, saying they won't win? What are we going to do? Well, for one thing, we should have identified the Republican Party as the source of this kind of thinking. Here in Virginia, we see this with our new governor and with some of the steps they're taking to isolate and hate people. The entire attack on the curriculum in school not only refers to the Republicans' desire to eliminate public schools, but to suggest the school is not a place to raise the consciousness in which we should be thinking of us as all equal. Equal at law, equal under the law for all time. There's a discriminating message. But they extend it to anybody else who has a difference. They extend it to children who have sexual preferences that they don't understand or care for, when these children are already being bullied. And they hope to take over a school system by running candidates across the country, not just in Virginia, for the school boards. So Biden is speaking well about part of the problem. But like Democrats across the country, they shave the points. They don't go all the way, and they don't say what's actually going on. They don't pin the tail on the donkey and say, it is you, McCarthy. It is you, Hawley. It is you people at Fox. Why? Is it too unpleasant to say the truth? For me and my kind, clarity of expression is a necessary condition of life, but also of political dialogue. If we're not saying what is true, any decision based on what we're saying in the ministry of half-truths, untruths, means we must have wrong decision-making, wrong choices made. Biden said something significant, which is a step in a direction I had not heard him say, although one could say he entered the race after Charlottesville because he was so struck by the notion of what happened there, the anti-Semitism, the racism. And he says, the American experience in democracy is in danger like I haven't seen in my lifetime. I think that's probably true. That acknowledgement, that is, awakening to the full breadth of the threat to the democratic experience, is a critical first step. The next step, though, is acting upon it. It is prosecuting those who violated our democracy because they're autocrats, because they don't care in the democratic method. They don't believe people are equal. They believe whites are more equal and white men are more equal than white women. That's a sickness in America. And so the poison is broader than the racism or the discrimination against LGBTQ. It is about the foundation of how we discuss and how we reason to govern. And if only a few can decide, and some of these people you wouldn't trust to park your car. I think of No Jacket Jordan as one example of that. The threat to America is that we would remain as silent as Biden is afraid the Republicans will remain silent in the face of this rambling discrimination. Biden was elected in part because he promised that all people would be equal. He probably said essentially that. Certainly we took it to mean that. The people in this nation who cared to have a government that was open and diverse and safe for all, giving everybody the opportunities they deserved. But what's happened? By our silence, by our failure to act in legislation, in court proceedings, even by word, has put us and our democracy at risk. And the question is there enough runway between now and this November to protect the nation so that we can do all the rest that is necessary for the presidential election a short 2 years afterwards. So that's our challenge. Buffalo, yes, is about an act of racism by an 18-year-old who had weapons he shouldn't have, who plotted as carefully as he could and rehearsed what he needed to, this first-degree series of murders, this racism that he implemented. But that didn't come from nowhere. That had to come from our leaders saying things like this on Fox and on the floor of the Congress. This came from this man's family, and I say he's a man because at 18 he's probably considered an adult, although his conduct was not adult. His conduct was crazed and driven with fear and hate that anybody not of his color, whatever that is to be condemned, isolated, shot randomly, killed, eliminated, so they can't replace him. Those who've seen the interviews of the people who witnessed or were endangered by this 18-year-old can see what raw American personalities and community they have. He had to come and invade their community. He doesn't even live near or with these people. Yet he did this. He showed this energy to do this, mimicking in part others who have done this. So my recommendation is we should be pushing our leaders to call out the Republicans by name, the specific things they say. Make it part of the campaign. Because America is at a threat that is existential. And if we do not protect our republic, we will lose it. No question about it. So, sorry my talk is, it's a beautiful day, so the weather is not the reason. The reason is that in my heart I believe most of the things I've ever been taught and the things I did as a prosecutor and working on the Hill and running for office myself. And I can't stand these interlopers who would come into America born here, who didn't understand our basic sense of values and would plan 24/7 how to overthrow our government and compromise it for all time. So that's what I have to say. We continue to get nice thoughts from you people for Holly and myself, and I appreciate it. It makes a difference. All the best. Bye-bye.